Today is a good day because we finally got some Fire Emblem news. We now know why Secret's been hogging momentum onto himself because the FE4 remake is dead, at least for now. The original leaks for Fire Emblem Engage talked about a genealogy of the Holy War remake. It could still happen, but it's not going to be the next big Fire Emblem mainline game. At the very end of an hour-long Nintendo Direct, Fire Emblem Fortune's Weave was revealed. I just want to talk about this game. This won't be a hardcore breakdown, but I am going to pick apart this trailer. I won't be playing any audio, so if you haven't yet, please watch the full trailer yourself. The music is awesome. I'm actually going to start with the end of the trailer because it hard confirms that Fortune's Weave is set in the Three Houses universe. Sothis makes an appearance on her greenlit throne just like the end of the first Three Houses trailer. The main difference is that she's not sleeping this time, and obviously she's much older. Now, for sake of clarity, this could be someone else, but she asks if whoever she is addressing, if they've forgotten her so soon. Now, that feels like a clear nod to us, the players, that this is probably Sothis. Now, the big question for the rest of the trailer, is Fortune's Weave a prequel or sequel? Is this Sothis from when she was alive, or have we gone into the far future? Let the discussions begin. Back to the start of the trailer, we open with a big wide shot of the main locale. I wondered if that central higher area was Garrick Mach, but I'm pretty sure Garrick Mach is not this close to water. Either way, that higher up building is showcased a lot in the background in this trailer. I assume it's going to be an important area. Now, as we progress with the trailer, we have a gladiator arena type aesthetic. In Fire Emblem Heroes, we just got a gladiator themed banner, and I have to wonder if Intelligent Systems may have been foreshadowing the new aesthetic of Fortune's Weave. Now, it does seem very Roman/Greek-esque. Speaking of, the first shot of new characters, the red-haired guy is obviously the bad guy, and the blue-haired lady is obviously on the good side. Jokes aside, we don't actually see these two in the rest of the trailer, so that's a bit curious. Next, we have a dude announcing the Heroic Games. Pretty sure he's voiced by Matt Mercer. Now, a games competition doesn't sound like grounds for war, but this is Fire Emblem, so I can only assume something's gonna go wrong. He isn't shown, but I believe this character's voice has a line later in the trailer. It mentions he will grant any wish to the winner as a divine sovereign. Now, considering his greenish hair and pointy ears, is this dude a Nabatean? That seems highly likely, so perhaps he'll be our Lady Rhea type character in terms of importance. Now, during this speech, we get an important showcase of 4 characters. We'll see them more throughout, but let's do introductions. First, going off the Japanese katakana, we have Kai, spelled C-A-I. Kai appears to be the main character, and maybe avatar for Fortune's Weave? If Kai is his own character, perhaps he'll be like Ike as a non-royal underdog type protag. Next, a little cut off is Theodora, so far my favorite for no particular reason. After, we have the brooding Dietrich. Dude's got that Xander blonde hair, black armor look. Last is Leda. Leda looks like a real fun character, which we'll talk about in a bit. The following shots focus on Kai. He's seen multiple times when his unnamed glasses grow. I believe she's a playable mage though. Next, the main reason I assume Kai is a main character is because he's the one running around the non-battlefield area. We only got these 2 shots though, so I'm unsure how much you're going to focus on this aspect of the game. The monastery is a major part of Three Houses, and while it adds a lot of depth to the characters you can talk with in between chapters, it also takes up a lot of time. We'll have to wait and see how they adapted to the feedback from the last 2 games. Moving on, we actually got some nice combat showcases. The music is so good at this part. We didn't see too many close-ups, but there are a lot of character portraits shown. Above Kai in the top right, we have the glasses girl with a tome. There is another magic boater above her, and then an orange-haired archer. The last dude at the very top is Dietrich. At least, I thought he was a blue unit, but now I'm not actually sure. He might be a green ally. To the far right, we have a sword fighter dude. The bottom of the screen features 2 fist or gauntlet users. The middle one with the hat has an interesting appearance later. Last, we got one more magic using lady at the bottom middle. The combat window is pretty interesting. Kai is a flying Orneous rider, and he can dismount like in Three Houses. He has access to storage or the convoy, and along with attack plus combat arts, we have a new option. We'll discuss Blade's arts in a later clip. On the weapon select screen, we can see durability is back. I have no idea what the curse stat is, but that sounds concerning. Kai appears to be able to use lances and swords for his class. For the combat preview, I'm gonna miss the 3D action poses, but here you can see it looks like the original Three Houses art style is back for the 2D stuff. The actual combat preview itself does pull from Engage's UI. You can see the individual attacks from each unit in the fight. Some fun notes, there is a charioteer class, and the enemy is a bowcav, oh boy. very tiny, under Kai's portrait you can also spot a crest. Now I believe that is Yuri's crest of Albin. Now that is an interesting detail. For the actual fight, unless there was some editing, Kai goes directly into a crit and it does the usual 3 times damage. I love the uniqueness of Kai's mount. Can't wait to see how they add this thing into Fae. Next up, Theodora's time to shine. She goes off mad Edelgard vibes, although her outfit also feels kinda Cersei. Now Theodora has the noble class, and at least for now she's a lance infantry. Please stay on the ground when promoted. Now she appears to have a unique Mahudu's spear. Like Kai, she can access the storage, and she has the same other options, but Theodora has access to gambits. The 3 other characters do not have this option, which could just be for gameplay reasons, but who knows. Now, the Disturbing Strike Gambit has 2 uses, and it's an AoE move. It also inflicts Immobilize, although we don't actually get to see this move land. Real brief, you can spot former characters. We got 2 sword fighters on the right with a mounted lance unit. At the very bottom, there is another dude with a shield. Maybe they're an army unit. Theodora is going to be fighting an enemy rogue. The gambit attack seems to be pretty much the same for 3 houses, though we'll probably get more variations. Next, Dietrich is protecting or blocking off a dude with his sheath's sword. Now this guy is fascinating because he reveals a whole bunch of stuff. First off, Dietrich is using a new Blaze Arts. On this screen we can see Blaze Arts cost HP. Moving Shadow lets Dietrich warp 3 spaces and then attack at the cost of 7 health. In addition, you can see in the bottom right that this move grants +1 Blaze. After Dietrich uses it, he gains 1 purple point on his, I assume, Blaze gauge next to his level. Also, are we going to ignore the level 37 Myrmidon? I wonder if this is a unique class, and I guess we're going back to the uncapped level system instead of the classic level 20 cap. Moving on, Dietrich has 4 weapons, including the 11 sword. Most intriguing is Answerer, which is, if you read the bottom right text, it's a freaking hero's relic. Dietrich can use the bloodletting combat art with it. Now, I'm no pro on 3 Houses lore, but I believe the general idea of the hero's relics are that they created after Sothis is gone. Is that right? This is definitely a pretty big part of that ongoing sequel versus prequel discussion. Dietrich will further spice up that conversation because real quick, you can see he also has a crest. That appears to be the crest of Lamine, which was held by Mercedes and Yuritsa. Now, if that wasn't clear enough, Dietrich activates Murderous Intent in combat. That is the personal skill of Yuritsa, so if you thought this dude looked like Yuritsa, then there you go. Ancestor or Descendant, I guess we'll see. Maybe it's just Yuritsa himself. Fire Emblem has not shied away from time travel shenanigans, so that's another possible explanation why a lot of these details are clashing. For other characters on the screen, we have an axe fighter on the left, another sword fighter up top, and then a magic user who gives me some Hubert vibes. Last, right next to Dietrich, is a teal-haired lance infantry lady. Nephany, is that you? Now I feel kinda sad that I'm excited to see a second lance fighter along with one of the main lords. They just aren't that common. Before moving on, I do want to nitpick that I was hoping for something a little flashier from the edgy looking Myrmidon when it comes to crits. We didn't really see enough, but I think everyone agrees that Engage's combat animations blow 3 houses out of the water. Here's hoping they bring out a little more of that stylistic flair for combat. Our last main character is Leda. She seems to be looking for revenge against some man, so maybe she'll be our Dimitri hothead this time. Leda's going to be a hunter, which seems to have a bow in the little pixel sprite, but we only see Leda wield a sword in the cutscene as well. Her combat options have a managed gauge feature, which is new. You can also see that Leda's blaze gauge is fully red. The others had a half red, half purple gauge. For Leda's blaze arts, she has 5 songs, which also cost HP. She uses the Song of Beast to summon a demonic beast, which is pretty crazy. This feels like Leda could be related to Happy, or at least she has the crest of Timotheos. Do note, this blaze arts requires seemingly half a purple gauge and then grants +4 blaze. There is definitely more to this mechanic that I assume is replacing our Emblem Ring shenanigans. Leda's clip does not give us a clear shot of many new characters. There is an axe fighter under her and then a blonde-haired mage or healer lady above the menu. In the top right, I'm not completely sure, but that could be Kai and the glasses girl. Since they are present with multiple factions, either Kai is an MC of sorts or maybe Fortune's Weave will try a Radiant Dawn style campaign. That is to say, instead of separate branching paths, you get to play with multiple factions in parallel. Now, if you wanted a golden route type deal, that's what you want. Now, it wasn't super clear if Theodora, Dietrich, and Leda are exactly against each other. We really don't know exactly what the heroic games entail. The rest of this trailer is all cutscenes. Kai's protecting Glasses Girl, and he appears to have some kind of funky symbol on his hand that can manifest something. It's not any of the known crests, so maybe it's just magic. Next, we got an action shot with some gladiators going at it. I could see the blonde guy being a playable character. After this, Dietrich is threatening some dude with his hero's relic. They also seem to be surrounded by some bandits or something, so I assume he's not just pointing his sword for no reason. Right after this, one of the most interesting shots of the trailer. Dietrich is squaring off with a priest or nun looking lady, and she straight up has what looks like a modern handgun. It's shooting lightning magic or something, but it looks like it even has a clip. I'm pretty sure this is the same character in Kai's battle clip at the bottom of the screen. The headpiece seems to match, so not only does this lady throw hands, she also is strapped. She literally has a shoulder holster, which is just insane to see in a Fire Emblem game. I swear to God, if our healers are going to be busting out the John Wick gun fu in this game, then someone needs to get a promotion. I absolutely loved Engage's martial arts, and it was hilarious watching little Fram kick the crap out of endgame enemies. Now, directly after our gun nun, we had a masked person who appears to punch someone. On this person's necklace, they have the crest of Noah. This is Constance's crest, so if you've been keeping score, that's 3 out of the 4 Ashen Wolves may be accounted for. That seems a little too intentional, but it's possible they're going to be building on some things from Cindered Shadows. The next shot has Leda attacking a guy with a sword. This could be the man she wants revenge against, but who knows. I don't think it's clear enough, but the guy kind of has the pattern for the crest of Gate on his chest. It's missing some lines, but the general shape is there. For the next shot, Theodora without her crown appears to be before someone on a throne. This is then followed up by her commanding an arrow barrage. At this moment, she talks about refusing to accept defeat. With her gambit use and multiple scenes commanding troops, you can kind of tell Theodora is probably going to be pretty charismatic. Again, the Edelgard vibes are pretty high. In the last scene, we have cuts between our 4 main characters. Kai is getting detained, while Dietrich is showing off his cool sword that can extend and glow. Leda shows us some dance moves, and it would be kind of cool if she actually was a dancer while also a mainline character. Maybe that's what one of her songs can do. Finally, we have Theodora being carried along throughout the city while staring up at that high up building / tower. You can already tell that obviously the heroic games aren't going to have a peaceful ending. The very end of this trailer featured Sothis' cameo, which we talked about already. Before that though, we got the title reveal, and I believe Fortune's Weave is going to be a Switch 2 game only. You have some time to prepare because Fire Emblem Fortune's Weave will be launching in 2026. There was no final release date, but for some context, Engage's trailer released about 3 years ago in the same time in September. That trailer came with a January release date, although it's been talked about a lot that Engage was finished for a while. Since we didn't get a hard date this time, I have to assume Fortune's Weave is at least a summer or late 2026 release. For what it's worth, Three Houses got delayed, but here's hoping we don't push this thing into 2027. There was no listed price or pre-orders yet, but Fire Emblem actually getting to close out the Direct is pretty huge, so I assume they have some pretty big confidence in this game. Being related to Three Houses is a major boon, so unfortunately, I'm assuming this probably joins that price hike up to at least $70 USD. I would not be surprised at $80, and then Fire Emblem usually launches with DLC, or at least an announcement of DLC, so that could be another $25 to $40. Now, if you want to play the latest Fire Emblem game, you might want to start writing those letters to Santa for Christmas. For my first impressions, I think this was an amazing trailer. It's awesome that no one really knows if this is a prequel or sequel. I also kind of like that we're not doing a Radiant Dawn type thing where the cast from the first game kind of just roll on in to take over. This seems more like a far in the past or far in the future scenario. Now, I'm not really surprised that we're getting a Three Houses continuation. Personally, without any hard evidence, I would say Three Houses is easily the most popular Fire Emblem title now. Capitalizing on that is an easy business decision. As much as I would like an FF4 remake, it was just too long since Engage launched for that to be the next mainline title. Going from a quote-unquote anniversary game to a remake is not exactly great for bringing in new potential players, especially after the insane popularity of Three Houses, which had nothing to do with past Fire Emblem titles. The world building for Three Houses was so good despite some flaws with the story execution, looking at you Crimson Flower, and whether you liked it or not, the student cast absolutely knocked it out of the park. If Fortune's Weave can replicate these things, then we should be in for a good time, but I doubt we're getting an Officer's Academy type situation again. The major concern will be how they update the gameplay, and how they decide to handle the monastery mode. We have a lot of unknowns right now, but at least in terms of vibes, I think Fortune's Weave is looking real good. The trailer is exactly what you want to see from a new Fire Emblem game. Epic music, a look at the new characters, and some little bits of gameplay which, as we discussed, revealed some interesting tidbits already. That's all I have to say for now. I am extremely excited, and I can't believe they made us wait an entire hour before revealing Fire Emblem news in the Direct. I guess we got something to look forward to in 2026. Thank you for watching. I'm gonna go lie down now. Let me know your thoughts, and I will see you in the next video.